Well, it's Friday. I finally got a little bit of free time and everything. And some of the people were asking about wrapping hands, or how do you properly wrap your hands so when you hit something you're not going to bust up your, hurt your knuckles, hurt the bones in the back of your hand or your wrist. So one of the things I want to do is make this video and make it to where you guys aren't busting up your messing up your hands, and you're wrapping them right, so when you're sparring and stuff you're not busting up your thumbs or, you know, creating any unneeded strain. Now, the years that I fought and stuff like that and everything, I never had a broken knuckle, ever. Now my wrists, I used to bum them up a bit, but that was because I didn't have enough wrap on my wrist wraps. So hold on, let me get this around. So what I did was, I don't know if you can see this, is I got one wrist wrap, and then I sewed it together with another one, so that gave me two. So I had two. Okay, there's the whole thing, you know. So when a lot of people wrap, they're focusing on their knuckles. They're really worried about the knuckles. They're worried about, you know, things like that. So that's what we're going to focus on. Obviously, when you do the loop, you're always going to come to the outside of the wrist. You're going to go around the wrist. Now, the main thing you have to do, if you notice what I'm doing with my hand, is I'm keeping it as wide as possible. Do you see that? You've always got to keep your fingers extended as wide as you can. And you're always going to the outside. Going to the outside of the hand. You're coming up, you're coming over, you're giving that wrist all that nice, wonderful support that it's going to need for when you're busting people to the body. Because people like to drop them elbows and stuff. So you're giving a little bit extra here on the inside of your thing, so when those elbows hit, you're not getting bruised up as bad. I used to get bruised all the way up the arm. Okay, we're coming around. Now, once I get past this point, I use a full wrap just on my wrist alone. And I make it to where it doesn't bend a whole lot. You want to focus, get a little high up on there, give you a little support. Now, as I'm coming around, I'm coming up high. Well, I'll do another one. So just, I'm coming up high and over what? To the outside of my pinky. Pulling it straight underneath. Coming around over the knuckles. Keeping the hand spread apart as much as possible. You do not bring your fingers together. You always keep them out like that. That's how your hand is when it makes a fist. If you make it too tight, or if you keep your fingers together, what you're going to do is cut off the circulation to your hand. Very bad. So we come around. Now, when we come down, we're creating what we call the X factor. You're creating an X right here on the hand. Can you see that? There it is. Coming down. We're coming around the wrist. Love that extra wrist protection. Coming back over the top. Coming over the top. Creating that X. Around the outside of the pinky. Around the knuckles. And then we're coming back down, giving us the X. Coming back down across to give us that X. Coming across. Now, we got to get that thumb involved. So as we're coming to the outside, we're going to loop around the thumb. Don't twist your hand wrap. We're going to come around the thumb. And we're going to bring it around. Now we're holding that thumb in place one way. But now what do we have to do? We got to come back around that thumb and bring it back to what? Back to the outside. And that's going to hold our thumb in place to keep it from moving too much. Now you don't want to make it to where you can't move your thumb at all. But with that, you want to give it some stability. Then we're going to come back around. Come back around what? Back to the outside. As you can see, I do a ton of work on my wrist. I do not want that to get sprained. Come back over the top. Again, to the outside. You see that? The outside. Back around the knuckles. Nice and around. As we come again, now what am I doing? Going down. Making that X. Got to make the X every time. come around. That's three or four solid passes. Coming around the knuckles. I finish up a little low on the. My wrist. And there you have it. There you have a wrapped hand. Solid. It's not, and if you notice, I'm not cutting off the circulation or anything like that, and I can make my fist. Now, some people will go between the fingers. We can do that if you'd like. So, why don't we go between fingers? It's really hard when you're by yourself. So, if I was to do it again, let me unwrap this real quick here, get it off. What I would recommend, is because you're not going to have enough, but you're going to go between, keeping your fingers wide, and you're going to go around the thumb. Keeping your fingers wide, you're staying around the thumb. Now, I can wrap here, come around the wrist to get it tight again, come around again, around the thumb, and then through the finger. Come down again on the wrist. Bring it around. And come up again. Again going through around the thumb. This way, while I'm doing this, I can actually knock out the thumb while I'm at it before I do anything else. So I'm going to come around, bring it over the thumb again. Because we're going to what? The outside. So I'm taking it from the outside, coming around the thumb, bringing it back over. So I'm going back over the thumb and going back to the outside. Get a little bit on that wrist again. I love getting it on the wrist. Now we got through the fingers, coming back over the top again. Coming back to create the X. Back around the wrist, back over the top, to the outside of the pinky. You always go to the outside of the pinky, keeping the hands spread. The outside of the pinky. You don't really want this to bunch up. You want to try and keep it as flat as possible. Coming around there, over the knuckles again. Coming back down around to make that X. The X is very important. You got to make the X. That protects the bones in your hand. Then we wrap it up. Once again, my wrist, and there you have it again. And that's between the fingers, all through the fingers. If you're doing it by yourself, if you have someone actually doing it, they're going to be able to straight back it and then wrap it with the back. But we're not in a fight, we're just training. The thumb is held in place, it's not going to go too far forward, it won't go too far back. We have our spacing in between our hands so we can relax them. The knuckles are going to be straight aligned, the bones and everything. And because we kept our fingers apart the whole time, when we make the fist, it's solid, it's not going to go anywhere. We don't have to worry about any movement with our knuckles. Our bones on the back of our hand are protected because we did the X. And we got that little extra padding on the wrist so we don't have to worry about the flexion too far forward or too far back. It's basically like a battering ram, it's just kind of there. Okay? Well, I hope this helps you, gives you an idea of how to do it so you can use it in the future. And hopefully we don't have any problems with your hands or anything like that. And if anybody has learned anything else that maybe I don't even know, I'm always open to that. But those are the ways that you can do it by yourself. Alright? I used to have the hand ties and I had to do it with, but, thank God for the Velcro. Alright? Make sure it's tight. It will loosen up a little bit as you're sparring. It'll start loosening up. So after every couple rounds, every 5-10 rounds or so, take the gloves off, redo the first couple layers or the last couple layers so you can get it back to where you got it nice and solid and it's ready to rock and roll, okay? Alright, well hey, this is Bigragu. Y'all have a wonderful day. Keep punching. I'm out.